Good morning and welcome to this thought for the day for Friday. If you ask particularly my older friends who my favourite Bible character was, they would undoubtedly give you the answer Gideon. And it's true that particularly in the early days before I was ordained, I used to talk about Gideon quite a lot if I had a choice, because they are such rattling good yarns. And our reading this morning is from Judges chapter 6, verse 33. Now all the Midianites, Amalekites, and other eastern peoples joined forces and crossed over the Jordan and camped in the valley of Jezreel. Then the Spirit of the Lord came upon Gideon, and he blew a trumpet, summoning the Abiezrites to follow him. He sent messengers throughout Manasseh, calling them to arms, and also into Asher, Zebulun, and Naphtali, so that they too went up to meet them. Gideon said to God, "If you will save Israel by my hand, as you've promised, look, I'll place a wool fleece on the threshing floor. If there's dew only on the fleece, and all the ground is dry, then I will know that you will save Israel by my hand, as you said." And that's what happened. Gideon rose early the next day, he squeezed the fleece and wrung out the dew, a bowlful of water. Then Gideon said to God, "Do not be angry with me. Let me make just one more request. Allow me one more test with the fleece. This time, make the fleece dry and the ground covered with dew." That night God did so. Only the fleece was dry, all the ground was covered with dew. The passage contains one of the most famous incidents in the Gideon story, the story of the fleece. And it's so well known that it's become part of Christian usage that people talk about putting out a fleece if they want to be sure about what God's guidance is or what God's call is in a particular circumstance. Adrian Plass, the Christian writer, used to say something like, if there was something he really didn't want to do, that he thought God was calling him to do, then he would put out a fleece, something like, if a one-legged Japanese admiral knocks on the door between 8 and 8:30 this evening, I'll know God wants me to do this. It was a way of manipulating God and of getting out of God's call. For Gideon, this was a really big deal. He was only the younger son of a farmer, and he didn't consider himself a military genius, and he didn't really feel that God had chosen the right chap, and he wanted to be sure that this was really what God wanted, because he was going to lead the people of Israel against an overwhelming enemy. When there's something really important in life, then it is right that we should be sure what God's will is. And sometimes that might be in putting out some form of fleece, but it's certainly not the way in which we engage in everyday guidance. And secondly, it's good to notice that this story is pretty much unique in the Bible. But God does want us to know what his will is. With Moses, it was being called at a burning bush. For Paul, he had a dream in the middle of the night, which led to him taking the gospel into Europe for the very first time. And God has different ways in which he can call us and enable us to be sure about his call. But mostly, as God guides us, it's more in terms of what we read of in Isaiah chapter 30, verse 21, Whether you turn to the right or the left, your ears will hear a voice behind you saying, "This is the way, walk in it." As we carry on in life, God will show us if we're going the right way or the wrong way. He wants us to walk with him, and he'll enable us to do it if we look to him for his guidance. Have a great day.